Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's July 6, 2026. We are going to read from Joshua chapter 8, and then we're going to read Psalm 139. All right, so in Joshua, had a setback. The Israelites, under Joshua's command, they took down Jericho in a miraculous fashion. God was the only explanation for how they won that. And they got a little bit uppity, a little bit cocky, a little bit self-righteous, self-indulgent. We saw that in two ways. We saw that in the sin of Achan, who went into Jericho and he defied God and he took some of the booty for himself, which God commanded them not to do. And we saw them in the Israelites as a whole when they go to take over the next town that God sends them to, which is Ai, that they say, you know what, we're not even going to send a full group. It's God's on our side. We're just going to go in. He'll give it to us. Done. And God essentially punishes all of them by having this small group of people from Ai rout the Israelites. And the Israelites are confused. They wonder why. They find out that Achan stole essentially from God. He's punished. And now they're going to try to go back into Ai again. And this time they're going to follow God's commands, and Joshua is going to make sure they do, and we're going to see that as we go through this. So let's go ahead and we're going to read Joshua 8. Now the Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid nor be dismayed. Take all the people of war with you and arise, go up to Ai. See, I have given it into your hand, the king of Ai, his people, his city, and his land. And you shall do to Ai and its king as you did to Jericho and its king. Only its spoil and its cattle you shall take as booty for yourselves. Lay an ambush for the city behind it." So Jericho, they weren't allowed to take anything. He's saying, no, you guys can take this for yourselves. And I want you to send the whole army, because I'm punishing these people of Ai for their transgressions against me. Don't change what I'm trying to do. Verse 3, so Joshua arose and all the people of war to go up against Ai. And Joshua chose 30,000 mighty men of valor and sent them away by night. And he commanded them, saying, "Behold, you shall lie in ambush against the city behind the city. Do not go very far from the city, but all of you be ready. Then I and all the people who are with me will approach the city, and it will come about, when they come out against us as at the first, that we shall flee before them. For they will come out after us till we have drawn them from the city. For they will say, they are fleeing before us as at the first. Therefore we will flee before them. When you shall rise from the ambush and seize the city, for the Lord your God will deliver it into your hand, and it will be, when you have taken the city, that you shall set the city on fire. According to the commandment of the Lord you shall do. See, I have commanded you." So this battle, they want it to look exactly like the first one did, with a small group coming in, and when the residents of Ai come out to attack them, they're going to run away, but they've got now the rest of the force is waiting to rush into the city after they go. So now they're thinking and listening to God and actually planning for a battle. Verse 9, Joshua therefore sent them out, planning for a battle, but the Lord is the one that gives them the victory. Joshua and the people have to do the work. Joshua therefore sent them out, and they went to lie in ambush and stayed between Bethel and Ai on the west side of Ai. But Joshua lodged that night among the people. Then Joshua rose up early in the morning and mustered the people, and went up he and the elders of Israel before the people to Ai. And all the people of war who were with him went up and drew near, and they came before the city and camped on the north side of Ai. Now a valley lay between them and Ai, so he took about 5,000 men and set them in ambush between Bethel and Ai on the west side of the city. And when they had set the people, all the army that was on the north of the city, and its rear guard on the west of the city, Joshua went that night into the midst of the valley. Now it happened, when the king of Ai saw it, that the men of the city hurried and rose early and went out against Israel to battle, he and all his people, at an appointed place before the plain. But he did not know that there was an ambush against him behind the city. And Joshua and all Israel made as if they were beaten before them, and fled by the way of the wilderness. While all the people who were in Ai were called together to pursue them. And they pursued Joshua and were drawn away from the city. There was not a man left in Ai or Bethel who did not go out after Israel. So they left the city open and pursued Israel. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Stretch out the spear that is in your hand toward Ai, for I will give it into your hand." So kind of calling back to when Moses, when his arms were up, they were winning, and when his arms came down, they were losing. So Joshua was going to hold this javelin pointing at the city that they're taking. And Joshua stretched out the spear that was in his hand toward the city. So those in ambush arose quickly out of their place. They ran as soon as he had stretched out his hand, and they entered the city and took it, and hurried to set the city on fire. And when the men of Ai looked behind them, they saw, and behold, the smoke of the city ascended to heaven. So they had no power to flee this way or that way, and the people who had fled to the wilderness turned back on the pursuers. Now when Joshua and all Israel saw that the ambush had taken the city, and that the smoke of the city ascended, they turned back and struck down the men of Ai. Then the others came out of the city against them, so they were caught in the midst of Israel, some on this side and some on that side, and they struck them down so that they let none of them remain or escape. But the king of Ai they took alive and brought him to Joshua. And it came to pass, when Israel had made an end of slaying all the inhabitants of Ai in the field, in the wilderness where they pursued them, and when they all had fallen by the edge of the sword until they were consumed, that all the Israelites returned to Ai and struck it with the edge of the sword. So it was that all who fell that day, both men and women, were 12,000, all the people of Ai. For Joshua did not draw back his hand until he had utterly destroyed all the inhabitants of Ai. And again, this is obedience to God. God wanted them punished. We don't know why or what exactly their sin was, but that God passed judgment on them, and he's using Israel to fulfill that judgment. Verse 27, only the livestock and the spoil of that city Israel took as booty for themselves according to the word of the Lord which he had commanded Joshua. So Joshua burned Ai and made it a heap forever, a desolation to this day. And there's that hint that someone has come along and either written this down from oral tradition or is editing some documents together. Verse 29, and the king of Ai he hanged on a tree until evening, and as soon as the sun was down, Joshua commanded that they should take his corpse down from the tree, cast at the entrance of the gate of the city, and raise over it a great heap of stones that remains to this day. And there's another clue. Now Joshua built an altar to the Lord God of Israel in Mount Ebal, as Moses the servant of the Lord commanded the children of Israel, as it is written in the book of the law of Moses. So this is one of Moses' last commandments to Israel. An altar of whole stones over which no man has wielded an iron tool. And they offered on it burnt offerings to the Lord and sacrificed peace offerings. And there in the presence of the children of Israel he wrote on the stones a copy of the law of Moses which he had written. Then all Israel with their elders and officers and judges stood on either side of the ark before the priests the Levites who bore the ark of the covenant of the Lord, the stranger as well as he who was born among them. Half of them were in front of Mount Gerizim, and half of them in front of Mount Ebal. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded before that they should bless the people of Israel. And afterward he read all the words of the law, the blessings and the cursings, according to all that is written in the book of the law. There was not a word of all that Moses had commanded which Joshua did not read before all the assembly of Israel, with the women, the little ones, and the strangers who were living among them. And let's go over to Psalm 129. 139. God's perfect knowledge of man for the chief musician, another psalm of David. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know my sitting down and my rising up. You understand my thought afar off. You comprehend my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word on my tongue, but behold, O Lord, you knew it altogether. You have hedged me behind and before, and laid your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high, I cannot attain it. Where can I go from your spirit, or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend into heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall fall on me, even the night shall be light about me. Indeed, the darkness shall not hide from you, but the night shines as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to you. So praising God's sovereignty. He knows everything. He's everywhere. You can never hide from him. You can't escape God. Verse 13, for you formed my inward parts. You covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret and skillfully wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Your eyes saw my substance being yet unformed, and in your book they all were written, the days fashioned for me, when as yet there were none of them. So talking about, again, sovereignty of God and that predestination. God created us for a purpose, and we fulfill that purpose. Now we have free choice. We either do it willingly or we do it against our will, but God's sovereignty overrules everything. Verse 17, how precious also are your thoughts to me, O God. How great is the sum of them. It should count them. They would be more in number than the sand. When I awake, I am still with you. Oh, that you would slay the wicked, O God. Depart from me, therefore, you bloodthirsty men, for they speak against you wickedly. Your enemies take your name in vain. Do I not hate them, O Lord, who hate you? And do I not loathe those who rise up against you? I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them my enemies. So if God predestines everything, what is the free choice that we have? And we're seeing that here, being in agreement with God and saying, you know what, yeah, they should be punished for being evil and rotten. That's not the way to do things. We make our will his will. So that's the highlight of your free will when you decide, you know what, I'd rather have God's will than my will. Search me, O God, verse 23, and know my heart. Try me and know my anxieties, and see it and see if there is any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. May God bless reading His word. May God bless you. Bye.